Hi, my name is Keenan Maxfield. I'm with Maxfield Solar, and I'm going to show you how to design a snap and rack roof-mounted system, a racking system for solar for a residential system. And so you just come over here, and up here we'll go to snapnrack.com. And I'll go over here to configure your system and click on Series 100 Configurator. So we can put a project name in if we want to. I recommend that for keeping track of your projects. And most likely, depending on local codes and preference, but I always do, and most likely you always will as well, want this UL 2703 listing. You want that on yes. And then most likely if you are a bulk distributor, you're not going to be watching this video. But all this button does is if it's no, it tells you exactly what to buy, exactly what you'll need. If you hit yes, it will round everything up to the nearest bulk size. And if you are an installer, use a lot of these, you might want to use that yes, because that'll save you money by buying in bulk. Of course, over one installation it doesn't save any money, but use the leftovers later. So then you want to put in your solar module, you want to put in your brand and model. And then this is pretty straightforward if most things are standard, but if you're on top of a hill or coastal or you're on a mesa, you'll click the one that suits. The standard, you can look into your county or city or just your local codes and see what you need, but you're always safe with the 2012, where the 2009 can be sometimes a little cheaper, but it's not accepted in all areas, so I would just stick with the 2012. You get your snow load and your wind speed from the county. Around my place, this range is pretty normal. That's up to the county or city or whatever you're in, just your local jurisdiction. And same with the wind speed. Your rafter spacing, 24 is pretty standard, but you'll have to look at your own house for that. And for roof attachment, for a normal shingle roof, you want the flashed L feet, unless you want to slope it up or something. But if you're going to try to do something fancy like that, that is pretty much beyond the scope of this video. If you have a metal roof, you might use, depending on which kind of metal roof, you might use the corrugated or the metal roof base, or even the hanger bolt. If you have a standing seam that's compatible, then these seam clamps are really nice. And if you, for some reason, want the modules to be raised off of the surface of the roof a ways, you can use these, either the heavy duty bases, standoffs, or these other standoffs. That does help with performance. It's kind of hard on aesthetics. It's more expensive, it's harder to install, but it is nice for some things. But I'm just sticking with the flashed L feet. Then your rail finish, it's pretty straightforward. Clear is silver and black is black. It's preference really. Your end clamp type, I love the universal. They're not compatible with all modules though, so sometimes you need the adjustable, but I think I've never tried it. I've never actually used a module that's not compatible, but I think I heard that if you click universal but you use a module up here that's not compatible, that it'll just swap it out for you. Just so you could always say universal and it'll tell you what you really need. The microinverter, that's pretty straightforward. If you're using a microinverter such as Enphase or SolarEdge, click that. If you're using a central inverter, or if it's an off-grid system, you're going into charge controller, hit no. Edge screen trim. It's one of the bells and whistles. Keep rodents out from under your panels. It's pretty nice. Obviously it adds installation cost and time. And then if you're using standard L feet, use the 4-inch. If you're using standoffs, you might use the 8. And if you're using too tall of a standoff, you can't do anything anyways. I mean, you can't use it anyways. So then you can hit configure. Now you should already know your roof pitch. If you don't know it in degrees, if you only know it in feet, like inches over feet, over a foot, say for example a 4 pitch, or which is 4 inches over a foot, you can come over here and do a Google search for pitch to angle calculator right there. And this block layer one's pretty nice. I've used it a lot of times. And you can just put your pitch. If it's a 6, then that equates to right here 26.57 degrees. Or if it's a 4 over 12, in other words 4 inches down for every, 4 inches over, 4 inches down for every foot you go over. Sorry about that hesitation. So if you take your tape measure 12 inches over, you drop 4 inches down, that's what that is. That equates to sorry, it's not responding. How do I get this to work? Well, my computer is not working at the moment, but normally when you put your inches there, your pitch, it will update this to the correct angle. You can also use this here to change it, and now it is updating. So I can just slide that down until this here is 4, and I can see that really close to 4, that would be 18 degrees. So let's just say I had a 4 pitch, which is 18 degrees. My building height was, you just measure this or estimate it. It's not going to make a huge difference, but you've got to get it pretty close just to make sure that you're designing it right. So let's just say we had a 15-foot tall building. And attachment spacing, they recommend 48 for the parameters that we've put in. So 24 is a bit overkill most of the time. But if you have a really high snow load or wind load or a really flat roof, you want to use 24. So the rows here will show here. If you have 2 rows that are each 9 panels, so you have 18 panels, then you just do that. You just want to make sure your rows are the same, are right, and your columns are right. It doesn't matter if they're offset, if this one starts here and goes over here. And in fact, this allows for adjusting of that. If I say up to 12 and I click this to no module, no module, no module, no module, no module, no module, you see that gives me the offset. It gives me 9 by 9 here and 9 there. But it's really not necessary to do that because it makes no difference on the bill of materials. So after I'm finished with that, oh yeah, and the orientation, landscape versus portrait. So portrait is upright, and that's what you normally want to use. Landscape is pretty uncommon on roofs, and quite a bit more complicated installation. So you want to stick with portrait unless you know what you're doing. And let's see. If you want two arrays, say you have multiple faces of a roof. On one side you can fit 9 panels. You just set this back to 9, and I mean if you can fit 18 panels, 2 rows of 9. And then on a second roof you can fit more. Then you just come back to here, and say on the second roof you could only fit 8 panels per row, but you could fit 3 rows. 3 columns. Then you could do it like that. That'd be a really weird roof. I didn't really mean to do it like that, but just for all sakes and purposes, you can see that you can lay it out any way you want to, and as many different roof faces as you need. And then once you're all finished with all your different arrays, you can hit Calculate Bill of Materials. And this will tell you some data about your modules and data about which bill of materials it is and which date it was created, and your requirements and your style and all of that, and your subarrays. And then right here shows you a list of everything you're going to need. But that's not true. It's not going to be everything you're going to need, but it'll show you, if you remember, there were 24 modules, and so right here it'll say you need, there were 42 modules that I showed you before. So here it'll show you that you need 42 microinverter attachment kits. It'll show you that you need 2 of these array screen kits, and all the way on and up. Now, you'll want to notice that it doesn't tell you what you need as far as lags or things like that, but that's pretty obvious. You wouldn't expect them to tell you what you need as far as that goes. So just remember, you need 1 lag, and you can calculate the size of the lag you need using the local codes, but typically you can use like a 5/16 by 3.5 inch long lag. That's fairly common design lag, and I always try to err on the side of overkill, but these are designed for 5/8 diameter lags. So when you overkill, you need to go for the length, and you have to pay attention to how much of that lag has threads, because when they start off smooth on the shank, that doesn't add to your strength necessarily. So you need 1 lag per foot. And so you find your L feet down here, and you find that you have 80 of them. So you need 80 lags. Of course, the way I configured the subarray, all the arrays, made it so that it gave me a very high number of feet, because it was very abstract, you might say, layout. But just for the sake of showing you that's how many you would need if you were to configure it the way we did. So you can just write this down here, the parts numbers, or you can export it to an Excel or PDF, and wherever you want to buy it from, just give them this list and you're good as far as the racking goes. Just remember, you need your lags, you need your roof sealant, you need all your wiring, etc., etc., etc. One thing that you really want to consider with a residential snap and rack roof is that you will probably want quite a few extra just for your stock. You'll want, what are they called? They're called wire clips. They're just little plastic wire management clips. They really make the installation nice, and they are not included on this list, but they are snap and rack wire clips, and you can look up the part number. That should be pretty easy. And that's about it. Of course, you'll need all your wire, your conduit, junction boxes. I think I already mentioned that. Sorry for the redundancy. and have a great day.